have to keep in mind is that the Las Vegas Aces do not have a GM right now. They let go of their GM a couple months ago, and they have...
In the high-octane world of women's professional basketball, few stories capture the intensity and raw emotion of the season, quite like the saga unfolding around two polarizing figures. On one side stands A'ja Wilson, a player whose recent public criticisms have ignited debates across the league. On the other, there is Caitlin Clark, a rising star whose impressive physical transformation and relentless work ethic have redefined what it means to be a modern athlete. As fans, analysts, and fellow players watch these two diverge in their approaches, a narrative of accountability versus excuse-making, evolution versus stagnation, is rapidly taking shape. The season began with an unexpected eruption of drama that sent shockwaves through the league. A'ja Wilson, known for her fiery temperament on and off the court, found herself at the center of a maelstrom of controversy. In a series of candid, unscripted remarks, Wilson began to call out her own teammates. In her commentary, she assumed roles that went far beyond those of a typical player, positioning herself as a de facto coach, general manager, and even the symbolic owner of the team.
Not to put anyone in that place, and so hey, Nikki Fargas and Becky Hammond are trying to make some wonders without an actual GM. So let's get into
this overreach, whether born from genuine frustration or a desire for control, was met with mixed reactions from fans and insiders alike. Wilson's outbursts came at a time when the team's performance was already under scrutiny, with the Las Vegas Aces grappling with a series of setbacks, including key losses on the court and internal locker room tensions. Her comments were interpreted by many as an attempt to deflect blame from her own shortcomings. "It wasn't me on the floor," she was heard insisting, as she pointed fingers at teammates and management alike. Yet, her words carried an irony that did not escape the keen eyes of observers. By externalizing blame, she inadvertently underscored her inability to take personal responsibility when things went awry. The controversy surrounding Wilson is emblematic of a broader issue within sports teams: the fine line between leadership and finger-pointing. While effective leaders can galvanize their teammates through constructive criticism and self-reflection, Wilson's approach appeared to cross that boundary. Instead of rallying her team, she seemed intent on spotlighting every misstep, casting herself as the only voice of reason in a sea of perceived incompetence.
To specifically what has been happening. So the latest departures for the Las Vegas Aces include two heavy hitters off the bench and two former 2023 and 2020.
This narrative of blame not only fueled fan outrage, but also raised questions about the locker room dynamics that have long been hidden from public view. Her remarks were not isolated incidents. In interviews, on social media, and in post-game discussions, Wilson's rhetoric often veered into the territory of assigning fault to everyone but herself. Critics argued that her behavior was less about fostering a winning culture and more about deflecting personal accountability. With the Aces already reeling from a lackluster performance last season, the spotlight on Wilson intensified. It soon became clear that while she may have been a vocal critic of the team's failures, she was simultaneously offering little in the way of tangible solutions. In stark contrast to Wilson's approach stands Caitlin Clark, a player whose journey this season has been nothing short of inspirational. Once considered merely a competent contributor, Clark has transformed herself into a powerhouse whose physical and mental fortitude now sets her apart from her peers. In college, she was never seen as the strongest competitor on the court. She was, by most accounts, a talented player who had yet to unlock her full potential. But as she transitioned into the WNBA, it became evident that she had an entirely different mindset. Faced with early criticisms regarding her physicality, especially after an underwhelming debut in one of the league's most intense matchups, Clark chose to respond not with excuses, but with action.
Like I'm just scratching the surface. I feel like there's just so many areas that I want to improve in and to continue to get in the gym and work on that every
When you're talking about GOATs of the W, I need my name to be up there, at least top 3.
Rather than blame her teammates or the circumstances of the game, she took the constructive feedback to heart. Recognizing that to truly compete at the highest level, she needed to be stronger and more resilient, Clark committed herself to an intense off-season training regimen. The result? A transformation that has left the basketball community buzzing. Clark's transformation has been compared to the evolution of a character in an anime training montage: each rep, each drop of sweat, a step towards unlocking a hidden superpower. Her time in the gym was not punctuated by the kind of self-pity or public lament that often accompanies criticism. Instead, she embraced a stoic determination that has become her trademark. "I need to get stronger. I need to be able to withstand the physicality of this game," she has been quoted saying in various interviews, words that now resonate with every fan who has witnessed her evolution.
Like, that's my goal, is like, I want something like, when you're thinking of women's basketball, when you're thinking of the W, I want my name to be on it.
Come on, tell them, Asia, tell them.
Takes, like, whatever it needs to get there, whether it's the rings, whether it's the accolades.
The locker room, traditionally a space of camaraderie and mutual support, has thus become a stage for these two contrasting narratives. On one side, there is an atmosphere of relentless self-improvement, a culture where feedback is seen as a stepping stone to greatness. On the other, there is a palpable sense of disarray, where pointing fingers and passing blame seem to have replaced teamwork and collective responsibility. The fallout from these differing approaches is evident not just in individual statistics, but in the overall morale and performance of the teams involved. This dichotomy is especially poignant when viewed against the backdrop of the league's evolving competitive landscape. As teams like the Indiana Fever revamp their rosters and adopt a culture of accountability, the Aces are left grappling with the consequences of internal discord. The departure of key figures, players, coaches, and even fans, signals a tipping point, one where the failure to address internal issues can have far-reaching implications. The lesson here is clear. While talent and skill are indispensable, the ability to foster a unified, resilient team culture is what ultimately separates the champions from the also-rans. The drama unfolding in the WNBA has not gone unnoticed. Social media platforms, sports talk shows, and online forums are abuzz with heated discussions about the contrasting approaches of Wilson and Clark. Fans, in particular, have found themselves divided between those who sympathize with Wilson's apparent frustration and those who cheer on Clark's transformative journey. This polarization, while a testament to the passion of women's basketball enthusiasts, also underscores the broader debates about leadership, responsibility, and the evolution of the sport. On one side of the debate are those who argue that Wilson's outspokenness is a symptom of deeper issues within the organization. They point to the absence of a dedicated general manager, the exodus of key players, and the overall lack of accountability in the locker room. For these critics, Wilson's behavior is not an isolated incident, but rather a reflection of a systemic problem that has plagued the team for far too long. They argue that instead of offering constructive criticism, she has chosen to amplify the narrative of failure, making it harder for the team to move forward and rebuild. Conversely, many fans and analysts have hailed Clark as the embodiment of progress and resilience.
College was not the strongest player in the world. Like, she was somebody that wasn't weak by any means, but we saw when it came to the...
Her dramatic physical transformation, coupled with her on-court prowess, has earned her accolades from every corner of the basketball community. Social media is rife with before and after comparisons, gym selfies, and inspirational quotes that chronicle her journey from a promising prospect to a bona fide superstar. For these supporters, Clark's story is not just about athletic performance, it is a narrative of personal growth, a testament to the power of dedication and hard work. The media's portrayal of this drama has only added fuel to the fire. Major sports networks and online publications have devoted extensive coverage to both the locker room controversies and the transformative rise of Caitlin Clark. Headlines that once described the season as damning or explosive now share space with in-depth analyses of Clark's training routines, nutritional regimens, and mental conditioning. This media focus has elevated the drama beyond mere sports gossip, transforming it into a case study on how modern athletes navigate criticism, evolve their craft, and ultimately redefine the boundaries of excellence. What's perhaps most fascinating about this division is how it mirrors the evolving landscape of women's sports in general. Today's athletes are not just competitors. They are influencers, role models, and, increasingly, public figures who are unafraid to speak their minds. In this environment, the way a player handles criticism, whether by doubling down on negativity or by using it as a catalyst for self-improvement, can shape their legacy for years to come. In the case of Wilson and Clark, the choices they make this season will likely be remembered as emblematic of a broader shift in how women's basketball is played, watched, and celebrated. Beyond the individual narratives of Wilson and Clark lies a more structural issue: the state of the Las Vegas Aces organization.
WNBA, that she wasn't able to really assert herself physically, and in fairness, her first game matchup was a tough one because her first matchup
Once heralded as one of the league's most formidable franchises, the Aces have seen their fortunes dwindle over the past season. A series of high-profile departures, including the exit of influential players and even a general manager, has left the team scrambling for a new identity. With the leadership vacuum still unfilled, internal tensions have only worsened, as evidenced by the public fallout and the growing number of dissenting voices.